So by now, we all know that whenever there's a particularly egregious policy carried out by Donald Trump's administration, rather than fighting him on it specifically, well, celebrities and Democratic Party loyalists always end up resorting back to their number one go-to tactic: vote shaming. Anyone who didn't vote for Hillary Clinton, this is your fault right here. Now, I don't know why they do this, because if you truly are outraged at something Donald Trump is doing, then wouldn't you want to fight him on that issue rather than relitigating the 2016 election? Vote shaming doesn't do anything. It achieves nothing. All it does is make you feel better and make it feel as though you're more noble than everyone else for voting for the lesser of two evils, when really you look like a dumbass because you don't understand the policies that got us Trump in the first place. So getting to what Kathy Griffin, the newest vote shamer, said, in response to a story about a dreamer being deported, Kathy Griffin tweeted out, "To every, quote, friend who didn't vote, bragging about how at least they were smart enough to not vote for Hillary, voted for Jill Stein or Gary Johnson, fuck you all." Now, to be fair, I do think that her rage is justified, albeit totally misdirected. The reason why a lot of progressives didn't want to support Hillary Clinton was because they didn't want to be complicit with the same type of policies with regard to immigration that we're seeing now. Certainly, Donald Trump's immigration policies are the cruelest we've seen. But with that being said, what Obama did wasn't great either, Kathy. Obama took a Bush-era program known as the Alien Transfer Exit Program, and he ramped it up. This program took Mexican men that entered the country illegally and literally dropped them off hundreds, if not thousands of miles away from where they originally came from. And what did this do? This put them in danger. This made them vulnerable to crime and abuse. But the reason why Obama thought that this cruel policy was necessary is because he was hoping that it would deter others from illegally crossing the border. So to understand how immigration policies in the United States continues to get objectively worse throughout the years, you have to look at each successive administration and see how it's not just all of a sudden Donald Trump decided to impose this fascistic and draconian policy. Bush and Obama, yes, Obama, paved the way for this type of cruelty. Their policies were a launching point for Donald Trump. It started with Bush. Obama took his policies, ramped them up, and now Trump is taking Obama's policies and ramping them up. The reason why people couldn't support someone like Hillary Clinton or didn't want to was because we didn't want to be complicit with these types of egregious policies, the same policies you're arguing against. Now look, I understand that Hillary was obviously the lesser of two evils in this situation, so if you live in a swing state and voted for her, I have no qualms with that whatsoever. In fact, I probably would have done the same thing myself, but myself, along with many others in solidly blue or red states, decided to vote for Jill Stein because we were hoping that if the Democratic Party establishment saw that the Green Party's vote share was rising, well, hopefully they'd move back to the left and not do these types of egregious policies that you're so outraged about. Democrats have also been implementing these types of right-wing xenophobic policies, and it's getting to the point where if you keep voting for the lesser of two evils, those two candidates are going to be indistinguishable from one another in maybe 10 years down the line. So people decided to take a stand in safe states. Now, some people in swing states still decided to vote for Jill Stein or Gary Johnson. But you don't blame them for coming out to vote. You blame the candidate that failed the voters, that abandoned the voters. And furthermore, I said this on Twitter, but she should be thanking Jill Stein voters, because without Jill Stein, odds are a lot of people wouldn't have come out to vote at all. And if they did come out to vote, even if it was for Jill Stein, well, if you support Democrats, a lot of Green Party voters supported down-ticket Democrats. Now, someone responded to Kathy Griffin basically saying what I said, saying, quote, "Vote shaming is sheer hubris and not how you win elections. No candidate is entitled to votes that they didn't earn. This needs to stop. Weak candidates deserve your angst, not the voters that are fed up with a system that no longer serves them." And Kathy responded by saying, "It's people like you who helped usher in Trump. I can't believe you still think this way." In other words, she totally disregarded everything that was said to her. Kathy, if you want to defeat Donald Trump, you've gotta understand the situation that led to Donald Trump in the first place. But she just doesn't get it. See, prior to his presidency, Kathy Griffin was actually friendly with Donald Trump, like a lot of rich white celebrities that like to vote shame. The problem is both parties have become increasingly right-wing and corporatist, and when populations get desperate, they become increasingly susceptible to extremism. Trump capitalized on that and ultimately won because of it. Even though having a Democrat in the White House makes you feel better, Kathy, and helps you and your rich friends sleep better at night, people are still suffering and hurting. As the economy improved under Obama after the 2008 recession, guess what happened? Wages did not improve, Kathy. Income inequality worsened. Obama expanded the U.S. empire, all things he promised not to do. So after 8 years of a Democratic administration, people realized that voting for the Democratic Party, no matter what, wasn't serving them well. Even though Democrats may be marginally better than Republicans, they're not good enough. They're not better or significantly different enough to stop voters from feeling angry at them or feeling angst towards the Democratic Party. So rather than directing her outrage towards the establishment and a party that failed voters, the powerful, she's choosing to direct her rage towards the powerless, people with no power, people who were fucked over by both Democratic and Republican administrations. Let me ask you this, Kathy. Rather than putting the onus or the burden, really, of getting Hillary Clinton elected over Donald Trump on everyone else, ask yourself what you did to help Hillary Clinton get elected. Rather than just tweeting about Hillary Clinton, did you actually canvass for Hillary Clinton? Did you go and deliver flyers for her? Did you phone bank for Hillary Clinton? What did you do specifically that would help Hillary Clinton get elected other than vote shame progressives? What did you do? Look in the mirror. Have some introspection if you really want to know what led to Donald Trump. Rich people like you, rich-splaining to us how stupid we are for not supporting Hillary Clinton isn't going to make a difference. If you truly want to stop right-wing extremism in this country, like I do too, then you've got to start by looking at the factors that got us here in this first place. But unfortunately for her, that's something that's just too difficult to do. The easy thing is to vote shame, and that's why a lot of rich celebrities are resorting to it. So you can rich-splain all you want, Kathy, but you're not making matters any better. You're just making things worse and making yourself look like a spoiled, rich, selfish brat.
Support this podcast by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Humanist Report.